year later. And that's when I realized how discriminating and how much harder it makes our lives. And supposedly they say it's good for you because then you will not be, let's say, abused by somebody you can't see in forever, but then ultimately it means that we are not able to do a lot of things and do a lot of transactions on our own. We were advocating for this, as I said, at least for 5 years. I found an intern who was working for Ministry of Justice, and she was interested in the reform, but then it somehow stopped somewhere. Anyway, in 2019, the Parliament of Georgia finally presented a proposal, a bill that would allow blind people to sign. But there were so many buts and so many exceptions that essentially the right to sign was more of an exception than the rule. And actually the Blind Union, which says that it has like 2,700 members, was supporting this law, which was, as I said, very, very limiting and had a lot of flaws. Why were they supporting it? Well, because they have a lot of property receipts from the government, they receive government and state funds, and therefore they don't want to be, let's say, opposing whatever the government is proposing. And then, few of activists, we went to these parliament meetings. We also brought this to attention of the Ombudsman's office, and we brought in the media, the journalists. We showed how bad this law will be and that it will not solve anything. And then they just stopped the process of passing it and blamed it on us. They said, we're going to improve your guys' situation, but there were these few provocators, quote unquote, who are not interested in this law to be passed, and we just stop. And this is what the government doesn't want. Well, I mean, speaking about how the government tries usually in semi-democratic countries, how the governments try to deter the activism and discourage activism and discourage civil society. I can deliver a whole lecture on that. I have written an article, like, I don't remember, 12 or 15 ways that the government will deal away with your proposals, and anyway, so that you won't notice it. And in 2022, they renewed this process of passing this law, and they again didn't want to make the changes that we were commenting, we were bringing the arguments, and they still were very hesitant, and they were saying, the parliament was saying, well, you are on the one side, but then there is another side who welcomes this, and then we brought in the journalists again and mobilized the media around it, but more importantly, one younger person in our group was able to mobilize the opposition. Like one member of parliament who is from the National Movement Party, and we are actually very sad that now they are boycotting because we need them for more push, and if they will be out of the parliament, they will not be able to contribute to any kind of agenda anymore. But anyways, that's just another topic. But we told her that the issues with this law, and she met with this member of parliament from the government party, so from the Georgian Dream Party, who was, let's say, the rapporteur on this law, who was sponsor of this law. He's also disabled in the wheelchair, and there is another reason that because we don't have somebody with a disability in the opposition, it's very hard for them to criticize him and whatever he says, both on disability issues and on any other issues. And the ruling party is using this situation very conveniently, putting him out on different TVs and making people think that, well, even if this man says, that, let's say, the opposition is bad, then he may be right. So, because he is sort of out of competition, and he always tells the opposition when they try to criticize that, listen, I have a disability, so I know it all the best, unlike you. And then, but just because we asked her, another member of the parliament that we stood behind, he was, let's say, forced to meet with her. And interestingly, that they never, like, she never knew, and she had never been to his room in the parliament. So I just want to show the degree of polarization right now in our politics, that members of parliament don't go to each other's working rooms and don't discuss things, even behind the scenes. And there is another, and finally where, let's say, because she was there and she pressured him to listen to us, when he took these proposals that reflected what we were saying in the committee, he tried to make it sound as if it was his initiative, and that whatever she had to say was like just a repetition of what already he decided to do. Like he made it sound like he's been always communicating with the community, and that it was all decided by him, and it was not due to her contributions when she started asking questions. Anyways, but still it went through. Now we are able to sign the documents without any exceptions. But now there has to be done more like the instruction levels and more detailed little regulations, which they are not in a hurry to do, and also they have to inform notary publics about these changes so that they receive blind people and do not require the attendance of these witnesses anymore. But again, what I wanted to say is that everything is affected by politics, and everything is affected whether or not you have pluralism, whether or not you have a lot of corruption. This will affect every sphere of our lives. And again, if you will be involving disability inclusion in your work, or you will be somehow involved with disability politics, with social policy, with any other policies, just know that people who work for this field are not ideal, just like in any other field. There is a lot of corruption inside, there is a lot of also, as I said, abuse of power, and human rights abuses within that field. And just